NBA app now to follow your favorite team and keep up with the latest scores, news, and highlights across the league. Area 21 on the road. There is Kevin Garnett out there in Los Angeles. KG, thank you so much for spending a little time with us, man. I hope the offseason was treating you well.
Always good to see you guys, man. How you guys doing, Ernie? What's up,
well,
Chuck? What up, Dees?
Well.
What up, Kenny?
Looking like fit KG,
I got a question for you, KG, about this Jimmy Butler stuff in your old city of Minnesota and what the effect might be on that team. Number one, is Jimmy Butler right or wrong?
I wouldn't say he's right or wrong. I think Jimmy Butler, first off, is a passionate player. You know, he cares. He plays really hard. You know, everybody that's followed Jimmy's career knows that he started from the bottom and he's worked his way up. He's this great clout for himself that I think the way he's going about it is a little different, though. You know, I was always one to keep things private. I was always one to to get things done behind closed doors, you know, face to face, being transparent, talking, communicating has always been like the best way for me. I understand what he's trying to do, just the way that he's going about it might be like not so the best way to me. You know, I see Minnesota as a really, really good team too, man. They got a really, really, really good team. They got good pieces, and I think at the end of the day, he's trying to motivate those guys. Those guys need to get in the room, sit, talk, be transparent with one another, and discuss things like teammates, man. But you know, I feel him, I understand him, I know he's passionate, but just the way he's doing it, I'm not feeling that.
You know, Kevin, I was on a television show earlier today, and I said Jimmy Butler can already start packing his clothing because the Minnesota Timberwolves, because they made a decision. They're going with Wiggins to give him a max deal. They gave Towns a max deal. They're not going to give Jimmy a max deal. So I think personally they should just go ahead and say, listen, we're moving on. We're going with the young kids. That's the way to do it instead of all this hostility, making it uncomfortable, everybody being around. But that's really what this is about. They're not going to give him a max deal and he's unhappy.
Well, you don't give him up for anything, Chuck. I don't think the Timberwolves are really happy with what's coming back. You know, I talked to whoever I talked to up there, just hearing what's out here, and I'm sure y'all hear the same things, but I don't know if you're going to get, would you trade Jimmy for, like, Jimmy is like an A- player, man. I don't see him as a superstar in our league, but he's definitely a player who can get a bucket, who can stop you. You know, he's definitely going to make your team better. But I don't know if you get something back in return. You know, I don't know if team's going to give that up for him.
Well, you know, Kevin, you started talking about how you did it behind closed doors and he's doing it in front. But it's funny because there's no confusion, I always thought, when you talked about Kevin Garnett. Like, when you talked about him, there's no confusion of what he's thinking and that you did it that way. To me, there's no confusion what Jimmy's saying. So both of you guys have kind of did it the same way, but differently. Like, there's no confusion that he doesn't want to be there at that time or be there in that way. And you, at times, I remember having that role of saying, man, do I continue my career here or do I allow myself to go to Boston?
I totally understand him. I totally get it. And he's dealing with Glenn, who doesn't know shit about basketball.
Glenn Taylor.
Probably
well, I think we weren't concerned about the Taylor part.
I know. He knows how to make money, but he don't know anything about basketball. I wouldn't say that he's the best basketball mind, but, you know, I think Jimmy, I thought this was about being better. Maybe it's when you read between the lines about an extension, but I do know that you don't have too many years to do this. You know, we probably got, what, 3 to 4 years of good years in him to where, you know, he can start this. You know, when you go to new teams, you know, that's all about chemistry and how you bonding with guys. So, you know, this whole thing, man, should just be to the side. I wish they just focus on winning and trying to get this thing under control. It's a really a rat storm up there, man. I hope they just really sit down in the room and get this done and focus on basketball, man. They're a really good team that can really impact the West, man.
And obviously you're not traveling with the cuss button, and I turn it over to Shaq.
KG, you mentioned chemistry. How will Jimmy Butler's antics affect the team and how they play this year, as long as he's there?
You know what? I think at some point, Shaq, you know how this is. We all been players. You know, you got to sit down and say what it is to each other. You know, it's so much conversation on the court between pick and rolls and coverages and things that's going on on the offensive side. You know, the game is going so fast that at some point players got to sit down and be men. You know, they got to sit down and talk to each other, and they got to iron this out. And if Jimmy has an issue with the upstairs, I think that he should go upstairs and keep it upstairs and not bring, you know, some of this other stuff to the court. But he's a passionate player. I love Jimmy Butler. Jay, if you're listening, man, you know, follow your heart. You know, say what you say. But, you know, be the example, too, man. Know that people are looking up to you, and you are the leader of that team. And so those young guys are looking up to you, man.
And in The Athletic the other day, they a big report about the Jimmy Butler situation, and the bottom line being that Glenn Taylor met with Jimmy Butler, and he will make every attempt to make the deal if Minnesota, as you pointed out, KG, can get what they want in return. Now, you've been in Oakland in recent days, right? What's going on up there? What was happening?
I did, man. This past week, I was up in Oakland doing a project called